fans. Welcome to the Purple People podcast. It is Tuesday, March the 9th in 2021. My name is Kyle Smith. I'm joined by Adam Carlson.
How's it going?
And Kyle West is up top on the other side of the corner. What's up, dude?
Yo, how's it going?
It's going, man. Thank you to the guys that are patient with the show. We did not have much to talk about, and our schedules, we wanted to line it up to have everyone here. And I'm glad we waited because we have three main Viking topics to talk about, and we've got some NFL news to go over this week. So for you guys that are regulars that tune in, start chiming away because we'll need your help. Let's get started. You mentioned it before, so before we jump into Viking stuff, let's talk about it. Dak Prescott, if you have been under a rock the last day, is a very rich man now. Holy crap. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I'm happy for the player.
I don't care what excuse me, I don't care what Dallas does, but it's interesting to look at from the perspective of we don't really know what's going to happen with the salary cap. And I'm going to think that Jerry Jones as an owner is pretty plugged in as to what direction the league is going. So I'm going to say that if they're willing to spend that amount of money right now on a contract extension, that maybe we'll be okay with the cap, big picture here. That's kind of what I think of it.
Well, the cap, there were some experts saying they were expecting a salary cap number today. That didn't happen, as far as I know, and as of this recording. So I would expect that soon. Of course, it won't be as high as it should have been based on, money made from COVID and everything, but it should be enough that the Vikings should be able to maneuver to get under the cap by the time pretty easily without making too many moves.
What's up, Mike? Yes, this is a John Randall jersey. Thank you for asking. I put it in the chat. It's my favorite Viking. Michael Cambry is here. Viking Jerome says Taco Tuesday. Yeah, I need to eat something after this.
I do want to apologize right off the bat, though, if I sound a little funny or don't talk too much. It's that I just pulled a tooth out of my mouth, and it doesn't feel great.
You, sir, you earned the ability to take a talking break for that one.
Yeah.
No, about the Prescott deal, it continues to make the Kirk Cousins contract look like a bit of a bargain when you compare
100%.
The larger ones that have came after. And especially when you're looking at like Lamar Jackson is going to be coming up soon for a contract. He's going to get himself a massive deal. Vikings did okay with Kirk.
Yeah, they got in before the big quarterback frenzy with massive paydays. And at the time when Kirk got paid, it looked terrible. But they knew. They got in front of this mess. And if they had waited, they'd be paying a lot more for his services.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've listened to a couple of things recently. I think you guys – I found another podcast that's really cool. And it's based out of Nashville where I'm at now. It's called Bussin' with the Boys. And it's got Taylor Lewan and one of their linebackers who's not really well known. But it's the Titans guys. And they have all kinds of people on the show. A lot of NFL players, obviously. They had Kirk on and they were talking about this deal. And he said it. He's like, I'm not kidding when I said I bet on myself and I want to be in this place for a long time and I hope I retire here. And, a lot of fans are iffy about him in 50-50, but the Vikings, like to Kyle and Adam's point, they got ahead of this and that deal looks better and better because he was top 5 when he got paid first. And he's probably near the bottom of the top 10 or out of the top 10 now because these massive deals keep coming. And it's very
out of the top 10.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it and see what it ranks as overall. But
if you go year by year, it's going to look bad next year. But if you look at the contract as a whole, how he did shift his money around to give the team more of a cap over the last couple of years, in the long term, it's a good deal. But next year, you're going to have a lot of complaining.
Does anyone on this podcast actually believe that Kirk Cousins is going to be traded and that he won't be our starter this coming season? Does anyone in here buy in? No.
There's no way. I would put up my next paycheck, all of it, to say he's going to be a Viking and he's going to start. There's no way. The Vikings are in love with him. And like we were mentioning now, you guys, has started to mention, because of the way this is all lining up, it's becoming more and more valuable. like Adam said, yeah, he might not look that way for this specific year, but overall, let's talk about the contract from before. Everybody was bitching because it was guaranteed money. Good for the player, but Dak Prescott is now taking up a quarter of the salary of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not mad at him for that. But when guys like Tom Brady are doing more with less and have more to pay, that's going to bite them in the ass. But I'm happy for the player.
And didn't Dak get didn't he get the largest signing bonus ever?
Yes, $66 million. I've got the stuff here I meant to get to, but I didn't interrupt you guys. $66 million signing bonus. It's a 4-year, $160 million year, including $126 million in guaranteed money. Maximum value of $164. This averages to $42 million a year over the first 3 seasons, with a $75 million in the first and $66 million in signing bonus. So
I'm telling you, man, if I was in that position, I want the big old signing bonus up front. Nothing's guaranteed.
This is Dak's first contract past a rookie, right?
Yes, and he got franchised, and that was the deal. He's like, I want commitment, which these players do. They want to be taken care of, but I just think it's a massive overpay. He probably could have got a good pick for him, too, if he wanted to test the market. This is a good quarterback draft, but I get it. They want a franchise guy. They're familiar with him. They think they can win with him. I don't think they can win with him, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a football coach, so hey, whatever.
I think even with Dak, I think that offense looks good with Dak. Yeah. Before Dak got hurt, he was just a massive force in that offense. They were the number 1 offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not worried. The Dallas Cowboys with Dak.
Well, the other thing about it, too, is there's a lot of Kirk Cousins that's here, not necessarily between the players in comparison, but Dak doesn't play defense. That defense was terrible. So, but when you tie up that much in the cap, how are you going to pay for those players? You got to draft really, really well, or have people come in that want to play there. And all in all, to talk about the Cowboys, the best thing, and this is going to be the worst thing I've ever said on the show, the best thing is when Jerry Jones is no longer here, because he's ruining that team. That's my opinion. He is. He needs to get his hand out of the cookie jar, go be a billionaire with his last couple of years left on earth, because he's getting old, and just do that and let people do their jobs.
It was the same kind of thing with Al Davis and a lot of these out-of-touch older GMs, owners that are trying to control things that they really shouldn't be.
You should have heard Michael Lombardi tear into John Gruden on McAfee's show today for that exact same reason, for being way too involved with the team and just not listening to anyone else. So I think you put Gruden in that category too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to add that I'm not bald. I didn't shave all my hair off. I just have this back here that is getting insanely long in the back.
Adam, we are all balding.
That's true.
Except for maybe Smith.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not gonna join you there. I'm gonna join Adam with this hair thing. I'm really excited about it. It's starting to get to that awkward phase. I'm gonna have Uncle Jesse hair very soon. Very excited about it. Let's talk about this though. Who do you guys think the next Viking player will be released? I'm thinking Anthony Harris. I hope that they go after a safety that Adam likes in the draft, but
Harris is a free agent anyway, so I don't think that they really got to let him go. As far as a player that's going to be released, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that makes sense is Shamar Stephen. But like I said before, the Vikings really like him. And honestly, with what he's getting paid, the money for him to be a backup wouldn't be too bad. But they got to maneuver way under the cap. If they can't get a restructure from someone, they're going to be in trouble as far as the cap goes. I would bet on them looking for a Riley Reef restructure, maybe moving some money around on a contract of Adam Thielen or Anthony Barr, just to get a little bit of that cap down the road a little bit where, okay, COVID's over or not as big of a worry, and we can get fans in the stadiums again. People will start buying merch again because they can go to their regular jobs. Once that salary cap can get a regular increase, that's going to help the Vikings so much. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them kick a little bit of a contract down the road a little bit just to help for some relief this year.
Yeah, I would say Anthony Barr would be a guy that maybe the team would want to go towards about restructuring his contract a little bit. I agree with Riley Reef as well. I think with Barr, Kendricks is the better player. So I think Barr would be the one that, if you piss him off and you have to trade him to get him out, he would be the one that you would be willing to part ways with, I think.
Well, Kendricks and Hunter, I believe, have already been restructured.
Yeah.
So they'd have to kick more of their bonus down the road, which I don't see that really happening.
No.
If we ever got someone famous on the show or got a chance to interact with an email or messages, I'd like to ask a player what, like, of significant value, maybe it doesn't have to be Danielle Hunter or anyone, but maybe like an Eric Kendricks or former players. Maybe if we could talk to Chad Greenway eventually or something, be like, hey, in your opinion, what do you think the players would like the most? Would they like a big signing bonus up front and then like a salary that?
Oh, we know what players love the most is when they get tagged.
Because that's guaranteed to go up.
No, they NFL players hate getting tagged. Unless they're in the process of working out some sort of contract, like when the Vikings used the transition tag on Greenway while they were negotiating.
It benefits the team.
Like that's yuck.
It totally benefits the team, and I would not be surprised if, when CBA negotiations come around with the player side of things, they try to kick the franchise tag. They try to phase that franchise tag out, because you're right. No player likes that.
No. And I bet you right now nobody's cursing the franchise tag situation more than Allen Robinson. He's already said he wants out of Chicago.
Do you blame him?
Well, if I had Russell Wilson throwing to me, I'd be a little bit happier.
Yeah, the old biscuit tossing you passes does not get you excited. That's like purgatory, but whatever.
Well, we'll wait and see if that actually happens.
Russell Wilson isn't going anywhere. Seattle is not going to trade Russell Wilson. That's stupid.
I like that. I think that he might move, but I don't think it's likely. I think that they're listening, especially that his wife is, a very famous musician, and she would like to be in a bigger city. Seattle's cool, but it's not LA or New York. It's not Miami. Just a thought.
But it is the setting for Frasier.
That's the selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about this in the chat. We'll start that as our first thing we're going to talk about here. Viking Jerome brings up bye-bye Dan Bailey. The Vikings did release him. I even commented on their post on social media and said, thanks for your services, man. There's a lot of people who are going to be nasty to him. No drama, just kind of fell off and had a little error on top of another error that was kind of, undoable, should I say it that way. But he was a big name, and I was surprised that he even came, because the Vikings don't go after huge names. He was very much a legend in the kicking world, but he's not the same as he used to be. Good luck to him, though. I'm sure he can find at least another stint and make a little more money. I don't think he's completely done, but we'll see.
I don't know what it is with kickers in Minnesota. I don't know what it is. I don't want to buy into the hype that the Vikings are cursed when it comes to the position, but I got to be a little stitious, right?
What a fucking great reference, man. What a great reference. Yeah, you can't. We've been talking about that with friends. I'm talking to one right now about the Vikings. Like, hey, a lot of people think they're destined for disappointment. I think people get lucky a lot more than other teams do, and I think they hit stuff at the right time. I think the Patriots are an anomaly. I don't think that's going to happen ever again, but yeah, the Vikings have a bad history with kickers, and they can't seem to find a franchise quarterback not named Kirk Cousins. So we shall see. But, Dan Bailey's gone. They haven't really said who they're going to bring in yet. I don't know if they're going to draft someone or look for free agency, but
they do have a free agent they signed. Yeah. There's the one.
You have that one. I'm not sure if they're going to do a competition or if he's the guy. I guess is what I was getting to. We don't know for sure if he's going to be the guy, but I don't know. I would be safe to say that I don't want the Vikings to draft a kicker for a very long time.
Here's what I think, though. We've had bad luck with kicking competitions. If the guy they have on their roster, and I can't remember what his name is, if he's the one that they think is going to be their guy moving forward, then we need to have just the one and focus on getting him ready for the season. If they don't think it, if they're going to draft a kicker, then draft a kicker and cut the guy that's already here and just focus on your rookie. Whoever it is, they need to be 100% with. Like, we can't do this thing where we go into preseason and we'll figure it out by the third or fourth preseason game. Like, no, none of that. Like, we have to have our kicker and move forward with it.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be different too, and the Vikings have had a track record of this with Mike Zimmer either. This should be the year that we go back to the playoffs. But we had this weird year of COVID and how everything is, not been as much in person. They're going to have a better grip on that. I think they're going to be way more prepared. Also, obviously, the talent's going to be back. Michael Pierce, Danielle Hunter. But they're going to have a better adjustment on that because I think Mike Zimmer went into last year very much undervaluing how much that in-person stuff needed to be there. And I think he got a bit off a little too much if he could chew, and a little ego came in, and it's like, I'll fix the defense. Well, maybe not, but I think that's a good plan, Kyle. I think that they'll have a little better of a grip on it this year than last year, and those little things could help. 2 or 3 more wins there, and you're in the playoffs, especially with the 7-team format now.
And I think a fair criticism of Mike Zimmer is that he has never given a shit about special teams. And I think he's finally starting to respect the fact that you have to pay attention to your kicker, punter, long snapper, special teams unit, special teams coach. Like, I think that we with the struggles we've had, that they're finally going to put an emphasis on that and making sure that they really are putting their best foot forward instead of, these are our guys, go win with them.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. Carlos Dunlap, thoughts on him? How much does he cost? That's the $1 million
He's
question.
an NFL player.
Would he help the Vikings pass rush? I think anyone would at this point, but getting Weatherly back helps. Getting Hunter back helps. There's a little drama around Danielle Hunter right now. I don't know if I want to buy into it as much. He is under contract, and he hasn't demanded a trade yet, so we don't have that looming over our heads. But I think the defense is going to go back to form because you're going to have stars there that are going to do their job to help other people that aren't rookies to do their job better.
Michael Pierce. Don't forget about Michael Pierce. We are
Very
assuming
excited for him to come back.
he's going to play this season. So the Vikings already have 2 big pieces coming back. Plus, like you said, Stephen Weatherly as well. Nice rotational talent that's being brought in. So
it's not like the Vikings don't have any youth or talent at defensive end down the line. They've got a lot of guys that have been developing nicely. Last year they switched Jalen Holmes over. He looked pretty good. There is enough there to where you don't have to worry too much about defensive end, especially if that is a target of the Vikings in the NFL draft. So as a whole, I don't think they need to spend a lot more at that position to improve, especially if Danielle Hunter isn't a concern to return.
Yeah.
And
that's the big X factor, yeah. I think. I think that him coming back changes a lot. He's instantly going to make whoever's on the opposite side of him better because he's going to draw a lot of attention, leave some one-on-ones there. Michael Pierce is going to shore up the run. It's going to help, guys, and we know that. It just sucks having to wait. It really does. Now that we're talking about it and kind of just I want to talk about it here because Adam sort of helped me segue to it. If that's a position of need they go with, what are the chances that Rick Spielman trades back? I think this is going to be a trade back year.
Well, it's definitely not, I don't think it's a trade up year.
No,
the only time I've seen a mock that had the Vikings trading up, they were trading up to get Pitts, the tight end, and that's I don't know. To me, Pitts is just a receiver to me. He's a Jimmy Graham.
Yep.
When they say he's a tight end, I don't think of him as a tight end. I think of him as a receiver.
And even though we just released Kyle Rudolph, I don't think tight end is a position of need that you address that early in the first round.
Especially not when you move up for.
Right. The reason why they were fine with releasing Rudolph is they're confident in the players they have on the team right now. Right. Like they wouldn't have released him if they thought that was going to create a hole on the team that they got to address in the first round. Why would you do that? you wouldn't do that.
It's true.
I hope that they trade back and figure out a way to get a second rounder as well. I think this draft is loaded with talent, and a lot of the shifting that's going to go on in the top 10 is going to inevitably land between the 15th and 20th pick. If the Vikings can get somewhere in there and there's somebody that falls, that would be awesome. And I'd love to figure them. I'd love to have a way, because I hate that gap from the first to the third, because that's where a lot of your really good talent is. You can find steals from the 4th to the 7th, but really want them to get some blue chip players, because I think that's what this team needs.
There are quite a few spots the Vikings need to address quite quickly, whether it's that internal defensive tackle spot, the either guard spot, to be honest, but essentially that left guard spot is much more important, where they need to find someone who's a good pass blocker. Run blocking, not as big of a deal. Minnesota did fairly well there last year, but that pass blocking needs a lot of help. Safety, they need a starter at safety. They need some depth at linebacker. So, yeah, there are some spots that the Vikings do have hold.
Corner, the team is absolutely hurting at corner right now.
You believe so?
I think so. I don't see how they don't draft a corner in the first round. With Mike Hughes probably not coming back to this team, there's just not enough depth.
If you can get a guy to sign for cheap, like the Titans are going to get rid of Malcolm Butler, I'd love for him to come over and give some leadership. I think the leadership is an underrated value and characteristic, but the Vikings don't have money. They don't even have plus money right now. So I don't know how the hell they would do that.
I don't know. The Saints are like $20 million under the cap and their franchise tagging people.
Here you go. Vikings need to release Dozier and Drew Samia. I don't want them to release them, Jerome, because we need depth, but they are not starting quality guards. I think we all agree with that, the three of us.
I don't think either one would have a benefit against the salary cap for a release, but again, I don't think that's the point in letting those guys walk.
There's a lot of guys that you could look at for potentially maybe not making the roster, but the reason why you don't bring them up, I didn't bring them up in like guys that we're going to cut to help the salary cap. Like Chad, you could probably say Chad Beebe. This is definitely a make or break off-season, preseason for Chad Beebe, but he's what the team isn't saving anything on the salary cap by getting rid of him. It's just questionable as to whether or not
that's the problem. That's the problem where they need to shift around money, is because the guys that you have that are good are really good, but the guys that don't mean much to get rid of, they're not going to help you financially. There's a huge gap in between the starters on this team and the backups, and that's a problem. I think that was exposed last year when a lot of the backups had to step up, but I mean, credit to the way they've gotten starters on this thing. Like Harrison Smith is a generational safety, and he's still here. Oh. I love the guy. That offense is going to be good, and especially if they can find another good wide receiver 3, they're going to be hard to mess with, because who are you going to cover? You know, I was talking about that today with my guys at work. Funny story. They were like, "Oh, Kyle Rudolph's going to be a Patriot," and I was like, "I mean, he can go do that. That's fine." And they were like, "You're cool with him being released?" I was like, "No, I love Rudy. He's great, but." He was mad about his role, and I was like, "Well, be Justin Jefferson or Dalvin Cook then." That's who you have to be. You're not going to get those. Why would I give you those targets when you have a guy burning corners down the field? It doesn't make sense, you know.
Irv's look good. Conklin's look good. Either of them can catch passes.
Yeah.
Michael, I agree with you. We do need a corner. I don't know if we're going to take one in the first round, like Kyle says. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I would hope they kind of shy away from first round corners again. Just at a recent memory, but I'm not mad at that. If they do it, I won't.
Do you remember who coaches the team?
My favorite Mike Zimmer comment still to this day is him bitching out Xavier Rhodes. I'm like, I can find a cover 2 corner at Mankato 7-Eleven. That's the best thing I've ever heard out of a coach. He's like, it's always something with you.
Maybe they'll bring Xavier back.
I think he's going to do great in Indy. I don't know if he'll come back. We know who's not coming back as a former Viking coming back. Everson Griffin, you're not coming back, sir. You burned that bridge, and I hate that for you, because I really wanted you to come back to the team.
There are those players that just leave, and they do things that really kind of baffle you to burn their bridge to where even if they could return, they won't.
Jaron Curse.
Yeah. Well, look at Weatherly. I mean, he left. He went to Carolina. Didn't work out, and now he's coming back. Why would you potentially burn that? I know you're always trying to bet on yourself. No, I'm
Right.
betting on myself that screw this team. I'm going to go to this other team and prove them wrong. Whatever. Life doesn't always work out that way. I don't know why you would want to burn that bridge.
I know
You
you
don't
guys
poop
probably
on
aren't as
David
high
Wallace's
on-
car. You don't do it.
That's true. I know you guys probably aren't as high on this movie as I am, but it's draft day, and God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman is in that movie, and I love that movie so much. He's like, get off of Twitter. GMs hate that shit. It's like, it's so true. I get that you want to be a person, but I feel like some of these guys are way too outspoken over stuff that doesn't matter. And oh God, don't reply to the fans. Fans are assholes. Ugh.
And be careful what you say on Twitch.
Uh-oh. I don't know about this.
What happened?
Just saying. An NBA player was live streaming on Twitch and used an anti-Semitic term.
Oh no. Yeah, you can't do that either.
Don't be like Papa John's. Don't do it.
Oh, Papa John. Jesus, man. Get your shit together.
Just think of the PR department currently at Papa John's, who is sitting there like, this fucking guy don't even work for us anymore.
Well, here's the thing too. I feel like you would be on. I'm not famous. None of us are famous or rich here, right? But if we did get famous and come into a lot of money, I feel like you would always have a state of paranoia of like, oh my God, I hope I don't mess this up and lose it. How do you not have the wherewithal to like think about what you're saying? Because you have to change with that. You do. That or you just can't leave your house, and the people that live there with you just have to be cool with how dumb you are, I guess. I don't know. That's weird. Mike says, Wilson, what is his status? If you're referring to Russell Wilson, he is a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Nah, man, I'm not trying to take a dig at you. I'm just being a smart ass. We were talking about that earlier. I don't know if you heard us. I don't foresee him, and I don't think he's leaving Seattle. But the ties that I've heard and listened to other podcasts and shows is, his wife is Ciara. She's a musical artist. She's hinted at New York, Miami.
He's talking about Eric Wilson.
Wilson? Oh,
Eric Wilson, the linebacker.
What is Eric Wilson's status?
He is destined to become a free agent after being tagged last year.
My bad, Mike.
It will open up a hole in the linebacking group. They will need to find another new starter. But yeah, that's why I added linebacker to my list of needs.
Let's see here. 2020 OTC valuation 11 mil. Salary cap charge 2021. He's going to be a free agent. So yeah, I don't know. I would be very sad if he left. I think he's an undervalued and underrated player. But what are you going to do? Somebody's going to leave. We've been saying this for like 2 years. Somebody big is out of here. And the corners left last year. So who's it going to be this year?
There was already a lot of turnover from last year. Well, from 2 seasons ago to the season we just had. There was a lot of turnover between those ones. Here's a name who I would like to see back. Linval Joseph.
Yeah.
What's your role going to be there? Are you going to run 2 noses?
Sure. Go for it. Defense was terrible. I don't care. Bring him back.
I mean, I know this is partly in jest, but also that Saints game was embarrassing. I don't care if it was just one game. That should never be allowed to happen in 2020 NFL ever.
It was absolutely ugly.
That was one of the worst games I've seen the Vikings ever play. In light of Weatherly, you still want Pay at 14. If he's there at 14, I want him or Rousseau. If Micah Parsons is there, he would be pretty badass. That's a hybrid safety / linebacker, and he is super fast. I don't think he's going to fall in the top 10. Somebody's going to get him, and he's going to help be dynamic for their team. But
it's true.
Yeah, I would totally be okay. I don't know how you guys feel if with a defensive end at 14, if it's Pay or Rousseau, I would be super pumped about that.
I'd be fine with Parsons too. I'd be sitting there going, all right, we got a really good player, and they're going to help the team win.
Yeah.
Is our punter going to get released? I hope not. I like our punter.
There are some people that think they are. Chris Thomason was hinting at it a little bit. It wouldn't come out and say anything, but I think that Cole Quitt is an excellent holder. He's an average, above average punter, somewhere in that range. He had an off season last year, just like a lot of other people did. He was a bit off, but I think going forward with him, given that he's got the 3-year contract and he has done, in my opinion, enough to stick around, I wouldn't gamble on another new holder.
Whatever they got to do, they got to find their 3 guys on that unit, and they got to stick with them the whole off season so that they can train and work together and get that timing. Because when we start messing around with pieces and parts as we get into preseason with the way the core special teams guys have to work together, that's why we fucked up Daniel Carlson.
Here's the other part of that too, and I hate to be this guy, but I have to be. Think about last year. Dan Bailey lost you that Bucks game. I don't care what anyone says. They turned it on in the second half. Good for them. The Vikings should have won that Buccaneers game. You lost by 10 or 11, and he missed 10 points worth of shit. That's unacceptable. You lost 2 other games at the beginning of the year by 1 point. There's 3 wins there. Now I'm not blaming those 2 like the Titans game on Dan Bailey, but think about how much you don't have to depend on that kind of stuff if the kicker's a shoe in. That's 3 extra wins. You're not,
and not even talking about points on the board. Think about momentum.
Yeah,
you're not 7-9 anymore. Or 7-9 is it?
Field position, all those things. It's a game of numbers and yards.
You're not 7-9 anymore. You're 10-6 at that point, and you have a legitimate shot to go in and beat up on somebody like New Orleans. They seem to like doing that in the playoffs. Who knows? They could have, played Seattle and had a revenge game. I don't know, but yeah, I hope that I'm with you, Kyle. I'm tired of seeing the rotation there. And you know what's crazy? And I know that they think about this because they're not stupid enough not to do that. I would think, but this team has consistently done certain things, not addressing the offensive line earlier or whiffing on it,
drafting tackles when they need guards.
I just keep doing these certain things, and the fans like us are screaming like, hey, why do you keep doing that? Can you make the attempt to make that better? Or I don't know.
How nice would it be to have like a Justin Tucker on our team where he's our kicker, he's consistent, and you don't have to worry about it for I don't even know how long he's been with the Ravens. Quite a while.
I felt that way about Bailey for a little bit, and then this happened. Every time I get comfortable, it's just true. Not good.
I was thinking Blair Walsh was going to be that guy.
He was that guy.
He was.
I really thought Blair was going to be.
Ruined him. I don't get it. What frustration.
Which catch is this one, Adam?
Bernie Cat wants to steal the show.
I like it.
Muse outside playing.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about Stephen Weatherly. We talked a little bit about Dan Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph was released. He left a really, really nice article you guys can go Google and find, telling the people of Minnesota and the team thank you. I think Rudolph's going to make an impact somewhere. If a team is really tight and needy like Carolina, they could use him.
I'm going to need you to define impact for me.
Well, he didn't do it here, but let's not forget it. The year before when we went to the playoffs, he had some amazing touchdown catches, and he won a playoff game for us. Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins set it up, but he definitely won the game with that catch overtime. I think he's still serviceable. I don't think he was ever a top 3 tight end in his career, but if you need a tight end, he's still a starter. You just need to use him, and he's unfortunately for what he was asked to do versus what he was getting paid versus what he thinks his value is, those 3 didn't add up at all.
No.
He could make Christian Ponder look pretty good for a while.
He did. He sure did.
Yeah. I mean, he made pretty much all the quarterbacks that were here look good, and I'm not trying to poop on all of them, but he had a lot of quarterback turnover. But
it was brutal.
Pretty consistent. He's a good blocker. He's a great human. I mean, first of all, he's a great human being.
It's weird to think that he's played with like Donovan McNabb.
Brett Favre, that was at the 2010 year. Oh, no, it was the year after. So Ponder, Matt Castle, the McNabb year, the Bridgewater years, Case Keenum. Jesus Christ, he's had a lot of quarterbacks.
Sam Bradford.
Bradford, yeah.
It's probably a Joe Webb in there, yeah.
This hurts. I hate talking about this.
Tavares Jackson.
Love to see an O-line come together. Yeah, I think so. I think if you upgrade at the guard position, you'll see a nice Kirk Cousins performance. I don't like seeing Kirk get sacked either because he's done a decent amount trying to like stop those fumbles, but he just folds up like an accordion and he doesn't hang on to the ball. So if we can stop that from happening, I would like to see him not get beat up too.
I want to not get mad when I watch videos of other teams where their quarterback has a pocket to throw the football.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I'm okay if we have to sacrifice a little bit in the run blocking to get us some offensive linemen who can pass block, because I believe Dalvin Cook is good enough to overcome
I think so.
some shortcomings a little bit. Like, can we get some protection for Kirk?
Well, you know what I learned too, just from Kirk Cousins, and I thank you guys and the fans a lot for teaching me. Like earlier, I messed up dumb stuff about Russell Wilson and Eric Wilson. I don't know shit about football, guys. I have watched enough to learn now what pressure up the middle versus pressure on the edge is. One of my worst memories ever was that 11-5 Teddy Bridgewater's season where the Cardinals and the Broncos both ended the game because the tackles didn't do their job well enough, and I think it was maybe Dwight Freeney. I don't know if one of them was Von Miller. It might have been. They came around at the very end of the game. Vikings are about to go on a drive, and they strip sacked the ball from Teddy.
Oh, yeah.
I know about tackle pressure there. But what I'm seeing with Arizona is this middle pressure coming up where he's literally getting bulldozed backwards, and he's like, oh, shit. And I'm just like, what happened here? And it's the guard play and our poor center, that poor guy. I thought he was going to be a great center, and it's a little underwhelming at this point. But Can
you imagine standing there trying to throw a football, and there's a man pushing your man into you?
And then everyone yells at you after the game, like, why did you get sacked? What?
Because that guy threw this guy into me.
I feel bad for Kirk sometimes. Sometimes he makes boneheaded decisions, but he hasn't done that in a while, knock on wood here.
But can we agree that the Vikings offense doesn't need a lot of fine-tuning outside of a little help on the offensive line and maybe some depth past wide receiver 3 or so?
Correct.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because, sure, there are some luxury picks you could make. Minnesota, they need to either re-sign or look for depth past Cook and Madison, because I believe both Abdullah and Boone are scheduled to become free agents.
Abdullah, he'll be back. I think he'll re-sign.
And this is one of the first years that I'm like thinking I'm okay with Abdullah coming back. Before I was like, I don't see his role on the team. I don't see what he does. And now I'm kind of getting it.
Yeah.
But I still don't get Shamar Stephen. Maybe if he stays on the roster in another couple of years and shows me some more things, I'll be like, I get it now. But I don't know.
Mike Boone is one that I think Mike Boone will probably test free agency. I'm assuming he's going to want to move up the depth chart. He's kind of the third back on this team. I believe he will probably look for more of a competition to where he can be that running back 2 somewhere.
If he could get in on a running back share where he could actually get some carries, that would be great for him. Something like McKinnon had for the 49ers would be good, where he was maybe he's only getting 5-6 carries a game. But that alone is enough to be able to showcase your skills a little bit and maybe move up in the league, because he's not going to get a lot of opportunities in Minnesota, barring injuries.
No, he's really not.
I'm loving that you guys are carrying the show right now. I'm on ESPN, and I'm looking at their list of top 100 free agents. And so far, I've seen 3 Vikings, and it's been really cool. I'm up to the 60s right now.
Well, number 1 should be gone because I think they had Dak, right?
Mm-hmm. Kyle Long is actually unretiring, so that's cool.
Let's get some more offensive tackles. Bring them in.
Do it.
Move them to guard where they aren't doing what they're used to doing.
That'll work out. We've had good success with that.
That's so funny. It's sad, but it's so funny. I'm into the 80s. I'm almost done. We're gonna go through these. It's kind of what you would think, though. And I don't see anyone else. All right. So there are 3 Vikings on that list from ESPN, and they are as follows. At number 26, I just missed the top 25. That's annoying. Anthony Harris, Number 40, Eric Wilson, and 45, Kyle Rudolph, tight end. So it'll be interesting. I think it's cool when the Vikings get, I would guess ESPN would be national recognition. I mean, it's just an article, but I like to see that value where it's like, okay, we don't overvalue and bias these guys. They really do have talent elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's going to be interesting. There could be some more shakeups. Yeah, and you know what's crazy too? I think it's one of those things where when you have it, you don't care, and when you don't have it, you want it. We kind of, I think all of us, maybe me more so out of the three of us, but maybe some people in the chat too, you want like a big free agent signing because you're just like, that player is going to do exactly what they did there and come here and make us awesome. And I kind of wanted that for so long as a fan, and now I'm okay with the Vikings sitting back and not doing that.
Because Gakwe's going to come here and light it up.
There's nothing more disappointing than when a guy gets traded or comes here and then he underwhelms. Oh my God, it's the most annoying thing.
Jerome Simpson.
Hey, I'll give him credit where credit's
Remember when he did that backflip?
Yards off of penalties. Most yards off of penalties I've seen ever from a wide receiver. It was incredible.
And his flair when pointing for a first down was amazing.
Yeah, big fan.
That's good stuff right there.
I want to knock on wood and say, because I hope they don't do it now, but I think the Vikings are almost out of the time too where they'll stop bringing in guys that are past their prime and just come to Minnesota to die and just be underwhelming and sad. Like, why did Greg Jennings come here? We didn't have any other wide receivers, but still, he didn't help.
We had Mike Wallace, who looked good before he came to Minnesota, too.
There's another one. We couldn't use Cordell.
I still like the Greg Jennings signing.
He goes to...
That Mike Wallace signing made no sense.
No.
I blasted that on the podcast.
That was prime. Rick Spielman fell in love with a player, and he tried to get him, and he didn't. It fell through, and a couple seasons later, he had another opportunity to get him, and he just went for it, even though it was not a fit.
I don't know if he looked at that and saw like a Bernard Berrien type fill or what, but with that situation, with that quarterback, with that offense, it didn't make sense. I get that you want to have that wide receiver to stretch the field, but Teddy isn't going to be your long bomb quarterback. That's not his strength. Never has been. Play to your team's strengths. Play to your players' strengths. Get a good route runner to go underneath.
I think they've got a good grasp on that now. I think what's great too about last year, one of the positives too was even Jefferson. It's like, oh, he hasn't gotten everything ready for week one, so he's not going to be featured. And by the end of the month, they're like, no, this kid's a superstar. Let's get him in there and let him do his thing. You know, you got a guy who can stretch the field. Kirk's he doesn't have a Mahomes arm, but he can throw it. We've seen him throw 50-yard Hail Marys. I mean, shit, it's there.
He does fine. Yeah.
Our strength's not a concern whatsoever. So, Mike, I'm with you. I think we have good core of coaches. A lot of the stuff
and the new hire coaches they look impressive too. I like a lot of the guys they brought in. That young cornerbacks coach, I like him from what I've seen. The offensive coordinator should keep things pretty status quo. The defense, the fresh blood should be able to come in and help reinvigorate the team a little bit. And we did see with the Weatherly signing that the defensive coaches do mean a lot more than a lot of people think, because one of the first things Weatherly did was comment on being happy to come back and work for that coaching staff.
I also like the wide receiver coach. Low-key, my new favorite offseason hire. I really like that because Jacksonville doesn't get any love, and they shouldn't because they've been terrible, but they had a really good group of – I mean, I can't say that. They took us to overtime, for God's sake, with Mike Glennon too. God, that pissed me off. He sucks. That never should have went that way. But they had good wide receivers, and you're not going to get that in a market like that where they're the bottom of a shitty division. So I'm happy that he's coming here because seeing the talent that we have in a veteran with Thielen, and then you have an up-and-coming superstar, maybe they can elevate somebody to that wide receiver 3 because we need that. You need a good trio of wide receivers, and they're almost there.
Do you see any of the other guys having the potential to step up into that role?
BB took some strides. He definitely is not a burner or anything. I don't like that he doesn't get separation. This is coming from the guy who's sitting in his chair. I realize that, guys. I'm not a fucking NFL player. But no, man, we say it every week, but I miss Mr. Clutch. I miss Jarius Wright. I miss a guy on third down, he can situationally he can be where he needs to be. Or fucking, I don't know why we didn't bring back Alger Robinson. Him and Kirk Cousins got along great.
Yeah.
It's not a money issue. He didn't get paid a lot. Bring him back, dude. I don't know. I don't think anyone, but to answer your question, no, I don't think anyone on the roster is going to blow any minds. Like it's been underwhelming.
You think we've seen the best of BC?
Yep.
I think so.
I do.
Honestly, maybe he is a wide receiver 3, like you're asking. But when he's been asked to be the number 2, he has been super underwhelming, and that's disappointing. Here we go. Here it is. Every show. Can they replace Mannion already? No, Jerome, they can't. He's a vital asset to this team winning a championship.
Huh.
Well, if we keep following the pattern for the Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota has never had quarterbacks play all 16 games in a season back to back. It's never happened with
That's
one
so
quarterback
crazy.
doing it. So Kirk is going to miss a game this year by that standard. So whoever that backup is, they're going to be playing at least a game.
Teddy time.
Which means Mannion could get that chance to throw that first NFL touchdown.
Or interception. Probably that.
Oh, no, he's throwing NFL interceptions. Don't worry.
He said, don't worry, he's experienced there. My buddy David, what's up, dude? He's a diehard Viking fan out in North Carolina, where I'm from. He says, get Sage Surratt. He's funny enough, this is like right near our hometown, Lincolnton, North Carolina. He went to Wake Forest. I'm gonna look into this dude.
Surratt is a great painter. I mean, I love his pointillism techniques. Great stuff.
That joke was way better than when I thought we were talking about Russell Wilson earlier and looked like a dumbass.
There's just too many Wilsons.
Yeah. I mean, there's volleyballs, there's neighbors, you can't see their face, there's quarterbacks. I can't keep up with all of them. Oh, yeah. That's good, though. I'll definitely look into him. So
at least you didn't confuse Sage Surratt for Gus Frerotte.
No. Could never do that. Still the longest Vikings touchdown in history, passing-wise, if I'm correct on that. Just a bomb to the outside. Fuck you, Chicago. How does Cook compare to the other running backs catching the ball?
I'd say quite well.
Around the NFL, that's what makes him complete. That's why I would take him over Derrick Henry. And it's not like I'm shitting on Derrick Henry, but he's a little faster, even though he's not as big, but he does everything. If you need a check down, he is a safe check down. And I love him mismatching with linebackers.
Kamara, McCaffrey, there are some others that are excellent at it. And I'd put Cook in the mix, maybe at least top 10, maybe top 5, if I had time to sit down and think about it.
Ooh, I have a free agent question for everyone because he's in the division. Do you think Aaron Jones stays a Green Bay Packer, or does he chase some money and go somewhere else? He's a good back.
Oh, he's going to go get paid somewhere.
Miami needs a running back, and you're out of the conference.
It's that deal where if you're getting out of your rookie contract and you haven't had a big payday yet, you have to go get that money. You have to. You can't be sitting there saying, oh, I'm going to take a hometown discount to stay home when you've never had the chance to see what your value is. And on the other hand, if you play that market value, you can see what others value you as. So I don't see him signing any sort of deal until he can see how other teams value him compared to what's being thrown at him from Green Bay. Because I bet you that the deals Green Bay are putting in front of him are nothing compared to what some of these other teams are going to offer.
Besides, Green Bay loves to take as much talent away from Aaron Rodgers as possible. That seems to be their overall goal.
Aaron Rodgers, can we draft some offense this year? Sure, they draft a quarterback.
Oh, dude, obviously they had the championships to hold over this fan base's head, but God, they are just as disappointing on a different level as this team has been. They break hearts every year because it's kind of like the Saints. You're supposed to be there. And I've missed out on so many good Super Bowls because Aaron Rodgers and the Packers can't make it to what, Who knows how I would have loved last year.
Hey, man, it turns out making a dynasty is difficult. Look at the
we missed
the
out
Legion
on
of
Super Bowls. I don't want to see Jimmy Garoppolo's dumbass in the Super Bowl. I wanted to see
No.
Mahomes versus Rodgers, but they can't get it done. They had a chance this year.
But the NFL is entering the time of super teams. Like they're following the NFL or the NBA's
NBA, yeah.
lead here, and honestly, this is one of the last things I wanted to see in the NFL.
Yeah, because unfortunately, Minnesota is never going to be able to compete just by the fact that we're Minnesota. I mean, we're never gonna be that place that free agents are gonna want to go make a super team. They're gonna want to be warm weather. Arizona, Tampa Bay, places like that are always gonna have that kind of advantage in terms of football. Who the hell wants to go to Minnesota? Live in Minnesota where it's freezing, play twice a season outdoors in Green Bay, twice a season outdoors in Chicago. Why would you want to do that?
Elvin Kamara moved to, was it North Dakota? And he was posting about how much he loves it there.
Oh God.
I'm not sure. I must have missed that.
Yeah, he said, "Don't bother me. I live in, I don't know if it was North or South Dakota, but he said one of those, and he said, I love it here, and I'm never moving out of here."
That's awesome.
So there are some people that like the cold weather, but after the Super Bowl in Minnesota, there also were a lot of NFL figures that, especially executives, that said this is never happening again.
Which is disappointing because you heard a lot of fans and other people who went to it who said that Minnesota did an excellent job and it was a lot of fun and they enjoyed it. But
I am so happy I got to live in that area during that because it was wild. That week, that entire week was just insane. As far as the number of people in town, the number of events going on, that Hall of Fame stuff. I got to take that picture of the Hall of Famous for Kyle West.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you gotta love the Hall of Famous.
Yes.
And all the autograph signings and Super Bowl experience. Got to see the Lombardi Trophy and everything. It was all really awesome, and I'm glad that Minnesota got to experience that. But what I'd rather experience is a nice Super Bowl parade.
Just one. I feel like when you watch Little Nicky and Dan Marino's in hell and he's like, come on, man, just give me one Super Bowl. It's just like trying to make a deal with the devil. Just one. We're still young, though. There's a lot of time. The NFL is still fairly young. I have hope. I'm going to be there regardless to watch, so.
But you also see other players like Greg Jennings still lives in Minnesota, despite not playing there anymore. There is so much to love about that state once you get there. And it does get a hold of some of the players that have been there a long time. But others, of course, you can't beat the tax situations or the warm weather in other states. So it's all a bunch of whatevers.
I don't know. What else do we have for this week, guys? Next week's going to be cool for the show, or the next show at least. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll hold off on it. We're still going to get to our season awards when there's some slow stuff going on. So we want to hear what you think about that for future shows as well. So,
yeah, this week we ended up having a bit more news than we were expecting. So we put off the awards show for another week because we feel that'd be better when we have more time to devote to it. And we wanted to devote more time to the news that surrounded the Vikings this week because we had a nice chunk of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad we didn't try to squeeze that in because it would have felt bad. I wouldn't have liked it.
Would have been too rushed.
Yeah, this way we can take our time. We can have our listeners and readers over on Facebook and whatnot let us know what some of their awards are and have a good time. Yeah, if you shoot us over your awards, we will read them online as long as they're not too terrible.
Yeah, keep it PG, guys. Especially my friends that like to get on here and troll and say
PG-13's good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll get that done soon. And we'll post it on our Facebook page and let you know when it's going to be. And I'll try to promote it as early as I can, schedule the show a couple days in advance so we can get your guys, because I know it's something that you guys want to look at and put your opinion on. I mean, it's always fun to pick out, stats or numbers or MVP kind of deal, because that's just always going to be a content grabber and attention getter. So we'll do that soon. We just had a lot of news, like Adam was saying, this week, and there's going to be more coming. We're going to do some draft profiles, and once the new league year starts, I think either this week or next week, there will be some moves, and we'll talk about those as well. We'll see what the Vikings do.
Before we take off, I do want to apologize for the late start to the show. That was me figuring out the lighting for my situation here, because I had a small electrical fire in the house that caused me to have to do some stuff. And when I replaced light bulbs for one of my lights, it messed up how I've got my lighting for my recording. And I finally figured out some lighting that worked. So it took me a little while, and I apologize for that. I also apologize if I sound a little bit funny and haven't been talking too much. But again, that was because of the tooth that I yanked out.
Adam's had a time. We give him a pass here. But thanks
don't
to
worry
everyone.
about the electrical fire. The cats are okay. The house is okay. Other than some singes on the carpet and stuff, it's not too bad. What it was back in my mom's old bedroom, there was a cordless phone charger that was plugged into a surge protector. And where that happened was right there, and it overheated and started smoking, and the carpet was pretty close to catching. But thankfully, I called the fire department, and they came and they found it pretty quickly. So other than a few singe marks on the carpet and a house full of smoke I had to air out, everything's fine. I still get a little taste of that electrical or that burnt plastic smell. Once you taste that, it's hard to get rid of.
Yep.
But overall, it could have been so much worse, especially if I had gone to bed. When I was thinking about going to bed, I wouldn't have noticed the house filling up with smoke, and it could have really been bad. So thank goodness everything worked out pretty well there. And again, it's just I'm blessed, and I don't use the word blessed a lot, but I am blessed that I'm able to come here and talk football with the Kyles, because this is something that really helps me to take my mind off a lot of the other stuff going on around here.
Same. Shout out to everybody in the chat too. Michael Cambria, Mike and Jerome was in here. Aaron, I love that. We also had my buddy David joining. Thanks a lot. Thanks for noticing the John Randall jersey, people. I love eBay. It is one of my favorite pastimes.
Still no comments from Twitch, though. We want to see that Twitch grow. If you have a chance, go on over, give that Twitch a follow. You don't have to turn on notifications or anything like that. But if we can get a few more follows over there, hopefully it'll start showing up in people's news feeds, and Vikings fans will check it out, because we'd like to see us grow on all three platforms. And I think Facebook Live has been wonderful for us for drawing in some people. YouTube, again, is the standard where you can catch all of our shows, especially all of the past episodes where Kyle and I were reading our notes off paper or recording Skype conversations, and it just wasn't the same, man. I wouldn't go back and listen to them if I were you, but they're there if you want to.
We used to write them down.
We did.
That's
Yeah, kids, there was this thing called pen and paper, and what we used to do is write our thoughts with the alphabet. It's a lot of fun.
And in cursive sometimes.
It's awesome, though. Thank you, guys.
I don't think kids can write cursive anymore, can they?
It's so hard, man. My signature, I don't even call it cursive. It's just like sloppy shit written together. It's not proper cursive, I have to sign.
I wondered how, with cursive not really being taught anymore, how people are signing their names. It kind of blows my mind. But this is something that I can investigate off everyone else's time. So, on that note, I do want to thank everyone for joining in. Buy Kyle West stuff. The link is over on our Facebook page. It's pinned. Go buy his art. Check me out over on the Viking Age and Undead Walking. Both of those, you can get your Minnesota Vikings and your Walking Dead information. You can check me out on Twitch. MN Viking Zombie. You can also talk to me on social media. I'm MN Viking Zombie anywhere that you can really think on social media, especially on Instagram where you can see some kitties. Got lots of Mew and Bernie over there. Again, thank you to everyone for joining us, and I hope you can be back next week when we talk more Minnesota Vikings football. Stay classy, Minnesota.